Welcome to part 2 of the Venusian Vengeance commentary. I'm going to go through level 2 and talk about the design. So first things first, I once again introduce a new enemy, which is this guy who stands on archways and throws barrels. He stands on archways over narrow corridors which have 2 lanes, which he throws barrels randomly down. And you have to dodge and weave past them to avoid them. The function that enemy serves is to be in alternate pathways, such as this one. So in this area, you can either go left and face your standard enemies that were introduced in level 1, or you can go right and face a archway enemy, and you have to dodge and weave past his barrels. The second function this enemy serves is to throw barrels into areas where there are other enemies, which basically provides an extra maneuvering challenge because you've got to worry about this column right here where barrels could be coming down. So next I want to talk a bit about game feel. Now game feel is an umbrella term for all the little things in the game that give the game its give the game a bit more weight, give the game a bit more smoothness. So, for example, the most basic one is screen shake. You can notice when I got hit, the screen shakes. When I kill an enemy, the screen shakes a little bit. And this gives your attacks a bit more weight, makes it feel like they're more impactful. Now, another thing I do is have a brief pause. This is fractions of a second pause when you take damage. The more damage you take, the more noticeable it is, so let's go with the exploding barrel. Or not. If I do that now, I will die since I got hit by that lava. Let me clear out these enemies and we'll be able to demonstrate that in a sec. So, if I take damage from this explosive barrel, it pauses for a sec, then I'm thrown back. So you've got 2 parts to that. One is the brief pause, which makes the damage more impactful in the player's mind, makes them take a moment to notice, oh no, I've been hit. Which is then followed by the player being physically expelled from that conflict. So here again I have a choice of 2 ways to go. One of them has an archway soldier, but also has a weapons pack, which you can get behind them. And here I've also introduced a new element of the game. This time not an enemy, but an environmental element, which are these pits of acid, which you can't walk through, but which you can shoot over. So now there's a new issue you have to deal with in navigation, in that you have to still dodge enemies that are on the other side of these lava pits and also fire at them, but you also have to navigate around them. I then continue that in this stopped screen, where enemies come in from the sides and you have to fire over the pits. And also you can see here that barrels are coming down from that one passageway. What this does is it sets up that down that passageway will be an archway soldier, and you have a choice between 2 pathways. I'm going to take the left path here to show you why there's a certain element of risk versus reward here. If you do go past that archway soldier, you end up on the side of this river that doesn't have as many enemies on it, and therefore you have more room to dodge the shots from the other side, and you don't have to deal with these tacklers who can't cross over the river. I did, however, want to still have a bit of a challenge, so there's these walls of pillars with explosive barrels that you have to shoot, which basically makes the player have to pause for a bit and dodge the fire from the soldiers on the other side while they deal with that barricade. And here I use the river to give the player a very narrow space to move around in, while still having to deal with soldiers on the other side of the river. So I basically use different variations on the river to provide different navigation challenges and different scenarios that the player has to deal with using the existing enemies. This takes us to our next boss battle. I'm particularly proud of this bit of dialogue. My new design for a Soviet jetpack is so much more elegant than your capitalist airplane. That's probably my favorite one-liner in the game. So this guy, one of the things I don't have in the game is indications of how much damage you've dealt the guy. However, there's subtle ways you can tell in that he speeds up his attack as he takes more damage. So at first he fires at the rate of one every couple of seconds or so. But the more damage he takes, the faster he shoots, which makes the fight get more intense as it goes on. Okay. So once again, you defeat the boss and you get their weapon, which then is followed by a segment where you're able to use the weapon. So last time, there were a lot of stone pillars that you could use the rocket launcher to blast through. This time, there's a lot of walls of pillars that you can bounce your attacks behind. So you can kind of trap the enemies in these areas back here and shoot in a little electricity ball, which will bounce around and do a lot of damage. And this then leads up to the first interior level. As you see, I'm starting to introduce the tiles for that, so you kind of get a hint in your mind that a change is coming up soon, which you then see here. And this leads to level 3, and that's it for part 2. Thank you.